Letting go, the dark truth about comfort holding you back from your dreams forever. In the small town of Willow's End, secrets danced just out of reach, hiding behind every corner. The fog hung heavy, coiling around the old sycamores like a ghostly embrace. Every step you took felt like stepping into a painting, vivid, but unsettling. The weirdness started on a Thursday, the same day a stranger showed up at the local diner with eyes that flickered like candle flames, igniting a sense of dread that wrapped around the patrons like a tight noose. What was it about him? He exuded a strange mix of confidence and fear, wearing an old leather jacket that looked like it had seen too much. The townsfolk whispered, brows knitted in worry. "Have you heard about the dreams?" Someone finally breathed, breaking the tension. "People are waking up, finding bizarre images scrawled on their walls." People's voices wavered, punctured by the chime of the diner's bell. As the delicious scent of coffee filled the air, the unease thickened. Julie, a waitress with an affinity for gossip, leaned into the conversation. "Last week, Mrs. Harper dreamed she was running from a creature with 10 eyes. It left marks on her arms, like someone had held her too tightly." With each revelation, the atmosphere crackled, a live wire threatening to snap. What was happening? Was it just town chatter or something darker? As Julie's voice trailed off, the stranger's gaze locked onto her, sending shivers racing down her spine. For a moment, time stood still, the world outside blurred, and nothing but the deepening darkness surrounding them mattered. "Hey, before we continue with this amazing story, I need to give you an important heads up. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube unsubscribed them without warning. Take a quick second to check the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I'd hate for you to miss any of the exclusive content coming soon. And while you're there, smash that like button, it really helps me out with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, which city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who's part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's connect." As whispers filled the air, secrets began to unravel, each story more bizarre than the last. Children spoke of shadowy figures in their rooms, watching with unblinking eyes. The air crackled with electric tension, an unshakable feeling that something big was coming. Julie's chest tightened as she recalled her own dreams, echoes of a past she couldn't explain. No one could sleep. No one was safe. Rumors spiraled, twisting around the town like strands of thick rope. The ghosts of lost dreams lingered, a palpable weight pressing down on all who dared to listen. Who were these strangers in their midst? What did they want? And as the diner patrons continued to share their tales, a pulse of urgency built, an alarm clock ringing inside them all. Beyond the fog, chaos was lurking, ready to strike. And just as the truth began to blur between fantasy and reality, a scream shattered the stillness outside, a piercing wail that sent everyone bolting from their seats, faces pale, trembling in fear. What had they unleashed? Did the comfort they clung to all this time actually bind them to their nightmares? The storm was far from over, and its first wave had just begun. The diner erupted into chaos, the sound of chairs scraping against the floor mingling with gasps of disbelief. Julie's heart raced as she pushed through the crowd, her instincts screaming for her to see what had happened outside. The fog had grown thicker, swirling about like a wild creature unleashed by the whale, obscuring everything beyond the diner's front door. "Stay inside!" A voice shouted, but it barely reached her as she flung open the door. The cold air hit her face like ice water, sharp and shocking. She squinted through the mist, searching for the source of the scream. In the dim light, she saw a figure slumped against the town's old clock tower, its silhouette stark against the luminescent fog. Then, a flicker caught her eye. The stranger was there, still shrouded in shadow, his eyes glowing in the haze. He seemed to be focused on the crumpled form at the base of the tower. As she approached, dread gnawed at her insides. "Is it?" she dared to ask, her voice barely above a whisper. "No," he replied, in that gravelly voice that sent chills down her spine. "Not yet." Panic rose as she recognized the form. It was Jamie, the town's bright-eyed librarian, her breath hitching in her throat. Jamie was always smiling, recommending the perfect book like magic. But now, pale and motionless, she seemed lifeless. Someone called 911. Julie called out, her voice echoing through the thick fog. She looked back at the diner, realizing no one had moved. Help! We need help. But inside, the patrons were frozen, their eyes wide and horrified. The stranger stepped closer, a strange glint in those haunting eyes. There's more at stake than you realize, Julie. Jamie's dream led her here. She tried to escape what? Julie's voice trembled. She couldn't prepare herself for his answer. Your dreams are the key, he said, his voice low but resonant, the fog curling around them like a serpent. They are drawing us. Each night, the collective fear and pain breathes life into them. She followed them into the darkness. Before she could grasp the meaning, a low growl rumbled through the air, vibrating under her skin. The world felt heavy, as if the fog was pressing in, closing her in like a cage. The shadows began to shift more rapidly, twisting into shapes figures with many eyes, echoing stories the townspeople had shared only hours before. Julie. Jamie's voice broke through the fog like a shard of glass, raw and desperate. The librarian stirred for a moment, her eyes flickering open. You need to wake up, the dreams are alive, they're coming for you. With a breath, Jamie seemed to dissolve into the shadows, but not before a pair of glistening eyes locked onto Julie's, hungry and eager. Time slowed. Julie's heart pounded, the reality of her situation crashing down like a wave. She needed to make a choice: stay and face this darkness or run back into the safety of the diner. Julie. The stranger hissed, urgency coding his words. This is about more than you. The town is in danger. You have to face what you've been avoiding now. With one last glance at Jamie's haunting silhouette, tangled with nightmares, Julie felt a surge of heat through her body. She couldn't let fear dictate her anymore. She stepped forward, determination igniting in her chest. But as she did, the fog twisted tighter around her, the shadows bearing down, and the figures began to emerge, eyes flickering like flames in the night. What would she uncover about herself in the face of such darkness? And as she squared her shoulders to confront the unknown, her breath caught at the sight ahead, a swirling vortex of light and shadow exploding against the fragile boundaries of her own dreams. What awaited her in the heart of that storm? The vortex pulsed, colors twisting like a dance of fury and fear. Julie took a deep breath, her fingers trembling at her sides. I can do this, she whispered, half to herself, half to the shadows surrounding her. The air hummed with electricity, anticipation crackling like static. Focus on your dreams, the stranger instructed, stepping closer, his presence both comforting and terrifying. They hold the answers you seek. But what did he know? Didn't these dreams trap her? She could feel the faint pull of them, beckoning her to finally let go of all that she had clung to, the fear now part of her very being. Okay, she breathed, closing her eyes for a moment. Memories flashed behind her eyelids, her mother's warm smiles, laughter echoing in the library, the comforting smell of old books, but then shadows crept into those memories, tears on the page, rude comments echoing through the aisles, the sensation of being invisible. Julie, open your eyes, the stranger urged, his voice cutting through the whirlwind of thoughts. Show me your deepest fear. She opened her eyes, and the scene morphed. Suddenly, she was standing in the library, but it was different. Dust coated the shelves, and darkness clung to the corners like a parasite, feeding off the dreams that had once flourished here. But now, she could hear whispered voices, the townsfolk's fears coming to life, each confession coiling around her. Do you hear them? He pressed, urgency in his tone. Your dreams need to be freed. Julie shivered, feeling the weight of abandonment surrounding her. I'm not ready. Ready or not, it's time. You can't hide from this anymore. He pointed to the shadows slinking closer, ready to invade her very essence. Then show me. She shouted defiantly. If it's true, if my dreams are alive, bring it on. The shadows surged, opening a rift that pulsed with golden light laced with black tendrils. She stepped closer, heart racing as something called her name. Julie. It was Jamie's voice again, sharper now. You have the power to break these bonds. The darkness can't hold what you're willing to face. The corners of her vision shimmered, revealing glimpses of others trapped, the townspeople from the diner, their faces twisted in horror, imprisoned by their own silent screams. They were living nightmares, like a mirror reflecting the darkness that had tainted this small town. Their fears were chains. It's your choice, the stranger advised, his tone now steady and almost protective. Determination surged through Julie. I choose to face them. I choose to be free. Before she realized what she was doing, she lifted her arms, drawing strength from the storm swirling around her. Let them out. A burst of energy radiated from her, sweeping through the air like a wildfire, igniting the shadows. For a moment, the figures paused, confusion mapping their faces. Then, suddenly, they surged forward. No! Julie screamed as they rushed toward her, a whirlpool of eyes and mouths opening wide. Yet, she stood firm, picturing the joy of dreams fulfilled, the shared laughter of the town echoing through her heart. With each pulse of her fear and her resolve, the storm grew, the light pushing back against the shadows. But just as she felt the first inklings of hope, the stranger's eyes locked onto something behind her, an entity rising from the depths of the abyss, greater and darker than she could have ever imagined. Julie! It's not over! He shouted, but before she could react, a blinding flash turned the world white, then, everything fell away. What had she unleashed? What dark truth waited for her on the other side? The next moment, silence draped over her like a shroud, yet inside, a storm still raged. What awaited her as she stood in the eye of chaos? Julie opened her eyes to an expanse of chilling white, so stark it felt like standing inside a blank canvas. There was no sound, no shadow, just a frozen moment that felt suspended in time. Her heart pounded as awareness washed over her, the shadows had receded, but the danger hadn't vanished. Where am I? She murmured, her voice trembling in the void. A shiver crawled down her spine as she shifted her weight, desperate to feel something solid beneath her feet. But there was nothing, only an endless sea of silence stretching indefinitely. Suddenly, without warning, a deep rumble erupted from somewhere beyond the haze. It resonated within her bones, visceral and compelling, igniting a whisper of dread. Julie hesitated, her instincts flaring. Was she truly alone? Or had the shadows simply bided their time, letting her enjoy this fragile peace before they struck again? A flicker of movement caught her eye. Shapes tentatively emerged from the whiteness, taking form. The features morphed, revealing the twisted faces of townspeople she had glimpsed earlier. Their expressions were locked in despair, mouths agape but silent. She felt a hollow pang in her chest. These were the people she had grown up with, the ones who had carried their burdens in the corners of their eyes. Julie, one of them finally uttered, although the name was a desperate whisper that echoed all around her. You must remember. Remember what? She exclaimed, stepping forward. What do you mean? What is this place? Each face faded in and out of focus, shadows preparing their advance behind their features. She took a breath, searching their eyes for answers but finding only echoes of regret and fear. Your dreams, they're not what you think, another voice cut through the despair. It was Jamie, his face rippling with uncertainty, but full of fierce determination. You need to face the truth, Julie. You cannot escape what you've buried. Enough with the riddles. She spat, an edge creeping into her voice. Her heart raced. These aren't just dreams. They're monsters. I can't fight them. They are because you won't let them out. Jamie's voice softened. You must choose to let go. Only then can you reclaim yourself. The swirling mist around her thickened, the whispers grew louder. Face them, embrace your fears, they cried. The ache inside her spread, suffocating. "Tell me what I need to do," Julie shouted. "I can't stand this uncertainty." "Let go." Jamie's voice echoed through her mind, punctuated by a shuddering wave of energy surging within her. The warmth felt welcoming yet terrifying. It ignited a flicker of hope amidst the consuming shadows, but as she steeled herself to confront the darkness around her, doubt crept in, wrapping tendrils around her resolve. What if the fears were too deep? What if they swallowed her whole? No. She had come this far, she wouldn't stand down now. The faces of her friends hung in front of her, their silent screams urging her to act. With a surge of determination that made her chest ache, Julie shouted, "I choose to fight. I will not be afraid." A shockwave burst forth from her, a brilliant flash illuminating the void, momentarily blinding her. As she fought to regain her vision, the weight of darkness pressed in closer than ever, its grip ready to tighten. "What is happening?" she cried, frantic as the light flickered like a dying star. Would she succeed? Or was this mere folly, a last stand against the inevitable? The light fought valiantly against the encroaching shadows, but as it waned, a chilling laughter rang out from the depths. "Let us see what you really desire, Julie. Ready or not, here it comes." The laughter echoed, a sinister promise that left her breathless. As the shadows converged, she felt the ground beneath her shifting, something far worse waiting just beneath the surface. Could she truly face what was coming, or would she be consumed by the darkness she had released? The pulse of the unseen world quickened around her, and she realized she was only beginning to understand the darkness within. The question loomed, what was she truly willing to sacrifice to break free? The air thickened around Julie as the shadows loomed closer, their chill biting through the flickering light she had summoned. She took a deep breath, her mind spinning with the weight of the unknown. Voices whispered from the dark, threading through her resolve like a noose. "Julie! Don't let them take you." Jamie's voice pierced the darkness, stronger now, reviving her determination. But his warning also deepened her fear. What could they take that was left unclaimed? She looked around, her heart racing, realizing that the faces of her friends had twisted into grotesque reflections of themselves. Each one was now contorted in terror, and every suppressed memory bubbled just beneath the surface like a fever waiting to break. "Face them!" they screamed. "What are you hiding?" Julie closed her eyes, squeezing them tight against the onslaught of memories she'd long buried. Images flashed before her, her mother scolding her for daring to dream too big, the kids at school whispering and pointing when she made a mistake. Each face a dagger, piercing through layers of her self-worth, crafting a life lived in fear. The shadows shifted and writhed, quickening like a storm brewing above. "I'll never let you control me," she shouted, fighting against the darkness inching closer, wrapping around her limbs like cold chains. But their grip tightened, squeezing her air out, squeezing any hope left nestled in her heart. The laughter cascaded around her, echoing with sadistic delight. "You think you can fight us? You're stuck in the past, Julie. You don't even know what you fear the most." Suddenly, with a violent reverberation, the ground split open. An abyss yawned beneath her feet, the darkness swirling like a tempest. She felt herself teetering on the precipice, dread curling up inside her, urging her to back away. But it was too late. The darkness was hungry, and she could either fall or fight. "Take the leap!" Jamie cried, desperation filling his voice. "You've got to embrace your fears, Julie. They're not monsters, they're mistakes. They shaped you. Give them new life." A new truth sparked inside her, igniting a flicker of defiance. Could she really rediscover herself in chaos? Her heart thundered like a drum, pounding a rhythm of emotions: fear, anger, hope, and grief, all swirling in a cacophony of battle. "Do it! Let go!" Jamie urged again, and this time, she dared to believe him. With every ounce of strength, she took a step back, her mind spinning. The past was hers to shape and embrace, but only if she let go of the chains binding her. "Then I will let go." Julie screamed, her voice a steady echo against the rising winds. With that declaration, she turned toward the swirling shadows and leaped into the unknown. As she fell, the laughter morphed into something different, a strange song that resonated within her like an anthem of freedom. The darkness wrapped around her tightly as she plummeted, but she no longer felt afraid. Instead, she felt alive, weightless, aware that she was finally shedding the fear that had shaped her life. The shadows exploded into a kaleidoscope of colors, forcing their way inside, and for a moment, she was engulfed in brilliant light. Memories surged forth, the painful moments morphing into lessons, moments of warmth blossoming in her heart. She was more than the sum of her past. She was a person reborn, and then, just as quickly, the explosion pulsed outward, washing over her, and the world cracked open again, revealing a reality beyond her understanding. Julie screamed, but this time it was not a scream of despair. It was a cry of awakening. That I in the distance, the silhouettes of her childhood loomed, but they looked different now. Could she really face this new dawn? Or was this just another trick of the shadows meant to lure her into their trap once again? The ground beneath her shimmered with possibilities, but one question loomed larger than all: what awaited her in this new reality, where the stakes were as high as her own spirit? As Julie landed, the ground beneath her shimmered with a light that seemed almost alive, pulsating with colors that danced like flames. She felt a rush of exhilaration coursing through her veins, but as she took a step forward, the vibrant light dimmed, revealing the fragments of her past emerging as shadows. "Where am I?" she whispered, her voice trembling. Silvery figures floated around her, flickers of memories twisted yet beautiful. They were moments she thought she had banished, her first heartbreak, the moment she lost her confidence, even the day she decided to stop chasing those daring dreams. Each figure shimmered with frustration and sorrow, and Julie felt their eyes upon her, judging, urging her to remember. "Embrace us, Julie," a soft voice whispered from the shadows. "We are your truth, your story." "No!" Julie cried, clenching her fists. "I'm not afraid anymore." She felt the weight of their stares, their yearning for recognition, and despite her resolve, doubt crept in. The shadows surged, growing thicker, crawling closer. "You can't escape who you are," they taunted. "Even in this new world, you carry us with you." Heart pounding, she pushed back, willing the light to shine brighter. "I am not my mistakes. I am more than what you represent." Suddenly, a massive wave of warmth hit her, washing over the cold dread. The shadows recoiled for a moment, and she seized the chance. "I forgive you," she declared, the words ringing out with surprising clarity. "I forgive myself." For every shadowy figure, she offered forgiveness, and with each word, they began to dissolve, their forms transforming into wispy tendrils of light. Julie felt an incredible release, the burden of their weight lifted from her, replaced by a rush of newfound freedom. Just then, a figure stepped forward, the embodiment of her childhood self, wide-eyed and trembling. "But what about the pain?" the child asked, voice quivering. "What if it comes back?" Julie knelt before her younger self, eyes softening. "Pain is a part of growth. It doesn't control me anymore." Suddenly, the ground shook beneath them. A rift opened, tossing debris in all directions. The playful lights faded, replaced by a dark maw of despair. "You can't abandon us," the shadows wailed. "You'll never find true happiness without us." Swallowing hard, Julie rose to her feet. "I set my own path," she shouted back into the abyss. The darkness trembled, furious, and in that moment, something shifted deep within her. "Embrace your truth." Jamie's voice echoed fiercely, bolstering her. "You are not alone." With a burst of determination, she leaped toward the darkness, reaching for the shadows with open arms. As she embraced them, warmth flooded her being, and she felt their energy transform within her, turning the pain into strength, fear into courage. The ground erupted in light. Her childhood self smiled, radiating hope. "You did it." The shadows swirled around her, but now they glimmered, no longer threatening. They were part of her, yes, but they no longer held power over her. Her spirit soared, mixing with the essence of her past, connecting where it once had been severed. "I am whole," she whispered, inhaling deeply, but just as peace settled over her, a silhouette emerged from the swirling lights, a figure cloaked in darkness, a new and overwhelming presence. Its eyes glowed with an unsettling ambition, and its voice rang like thunder, "You think you're done, Julie? This is just a taste of what lies ahead." A chill crept down her spine, fear creeping back to nestle in her heart. What more could the shadows demand of her? Not yet ready to face this new threat, Julie stood frozen, the remnants of her past echoing behind her. What new battle awaited as her journey truly began? Julie's heart raced, pounding against the cage of her ribcage as she faced the ominous figure. Shadows swirled around her, the remnants of her past mixing with the thick, unsettling air of dread that now filled the space. She could sense that this new entity held a power that could unravel everything she had just fought to reclaim. "Who are you?" she demanded, her voice louder than anticipated, echoing in a void that felt alive. The figure stepped closer, its cloak flowing like smoke. "I am the darkness you've refused to confront, the fears and regrets you thought were vanquished." It leaned closer, the glow of its eyes intensifying. "You can never truly escape me." Julie's breath hitched. Could this be the embodiment of everything she had pushed away? Her past had become part of her light, but this was different. This felt like the shadow of defeat, lurking at the edges of her mind. "You think you've triumphed?" it continued, its voice a growl that sent a shiver coursing through her. "Your victory is an illusion. Face it. You are still bound to your self-doubt." "No," she shouted, each syllable laced with defiance. "I've embraced my past. I've turned my pain into strength." The figure laughed, a sound that reverberated in the hollow air. "Strength? Is that what you call it? You think you can overcome me? You're still living in fear of failure, and as long as that exists, I will always be here." In that moment, a memory flickered in Julie's mind, the feeling of being caught in moments of hesitation, the whispers that told her she wasn't enough, that she would never achieve her dreams. Those shadows dawned in a vicious spiral, weaving around her ankles like chains. The darkness had a point, her growth was jalopy, she still felt those familiar doubts lurking in the background, waiting to edge into her consciousness, but then, a spark of clarity ignited inside her. "You're wrong. I've learned to let go. You no longer control my future." With a swift movement, she raised her arms, and warmth surged through her body. A radiant light pulsed from her core, pushing back against the dark figure, illuminating the surrounding space. The shadows trembled, resisting the brilliance as they contorted and twisted, desperate to stay anchored to their home within her. "Your light is weak," the figure hissed, but Julie felt the surge of strength grow. "You will succumb." "No!" she yelled again, furious now. Memories, not of defeat but of moments when she had stood tall, when she had succeeded despite her fears, flooded her mind. Each illuminating memory infused her strength, the energy wrapping around her like armor. The darkness roared back at her, shoving waves of despair forward, but every wave that crashed against her light fizzled out, weakening. Julie planted her feet firmly in response. She wasn't just fighting for herself anymore. This battle was bigger. It was for everyone trapped in their fears, held hostage by what had been. "I want to let you take my power," she bellowed, channeling love and hope for her dreams as a shield, light erupted, enveloping the figure. "You'll regret this," it screeched, fading into the corners of the space. But Julie didn't feel triumph, she felt a mix of uncertainty and an unsettling emptiness as silence enveloped her. She stood alone in that bright space, trying to catch her own breath. The void had shifted. The shadows that remained in the distance no longer felt oppressive but whispered echoes of what had been. Julie grappled with uncertainty. Had she truly conquered the darkness? Or was it simply hiding, lying in wait for another chance to strike? Her stomach twisted with fear and anticipation. What would be next? As she turned, the paths ahead unfurled like an intricate maze, each fork steeped in mystery and possibility. Could she truly find a way forward? Or would her past rise again, ready to cement her fate within its dark grasp? She took a tentative step into the unknown, the hopeful glow still radiating within her, but doubt stirred like an unwanted shadow. What would she face next in her quest for true freedom? Julie felt the weight of the silence pressing down on her, thick and stifling. Shadows flickered at the edges of her vision, teasing her with their presence. Each step she took felt tentative, as if the ground beneath her were shifting, threatening to collapse under her. She was in uncharted territory, a labyrinth of fears she thought she had escaped. Suddenly, from the corner of her eye, she noticed a flicker, something that seemed to pulse with an inner light. Intrigued, she moved toward it, her heart pounding with both hope and dread. As she drew closer, the flickering grew steadier, revealing a mirror framed in worn silver. The glass was foggy, but she could see vague shapes shifting within. With trembling hands, she reached toward the mirror, her breath hitching as she prepared for what might emerge. Faces swam into focus, images of people she had lost touch with, moments she longed to relive. But the mirror warped their features, distorting their smiles into grimaces. "Turn away." A voice, familiar yet foreign, urged from behind her. Julie whirled, her heart thudding in her ears. There was nobody there, just the shifting shadows dancing at the edges. "What do you want from me?" she shouted, the echo of her voice bouncing back defiantly. "I've faced you. I've faced me." The mirror responded with a chilling laughter, and the figures twisted, growing more frayed, as if the very essence of her memories was unraveling before her eyes. Julie recoiled, horrified as the laughter grew louder, more mocking. "This is your truth, Julie." It cackled. "You can't just forget. You can't just move past. You are bound to these moments, forever defined by them." A pang of doubt shot through her. Was this a reminder of her failures? All those times she let fear hold her back. Did her past truly define her? As she fought against the wave of despair, she was reminded she had battled darkness before, hadn't she? "No." Julie shouted, summoning the fire inside her. "You're wrong. Those moments are not shackles, they're lessons." But as she spoke, the mirror's surface pulsed violently. Dark tendrils reached out, curling around her arms and legs, gripping her with icy fingers. The weight of self-doubt was a tangible force, dragging her towards the depths of her worst fears. She struggled against the grasp, panic flooding her. The reflections of her past merged into flashes of pain, humiliation, and the relentless echo of "not good enough." The dark entity's laughter echoed louder, growing glee in her turmoil, but then, amid the chaos, a quiet voice arose within her. It whispered words of resilience, memories of strength. The feeling of triumph she'd embraced moments before surged back, filling her with determination. "I've learned to transform pain into power," she yelled, mustering every ounce of her spirit. With a burst of force, she yanked her arms free from the tendrils, creating a sudden eruption of light that shattered the mirror. Shards of glass scattered like glittering stars, and the laughter faded into a sorrowful wail. Breathlessly, she stood in the darkness, the remnants of the shattered illusion around her. Julie felt shaken but oddly liberated. Perhaps she could redefine herself not through memories of defeat but by revisiting them as a source of strength. Taking one resolute step forward, she saw another path opening up, deceptive yet promising. "What's next?" she whispered to herself, the shadows whispering around her. Suddenly, she felt an unsettling chill brush against her neck. She turned, heart racing, half expecting the dark figure to materialize again. But there was only silence. Still, it lingered in her mind, the chilling words of her past. "You can never truly escape me." With the uncertainty swirling within her, she took another step into the unfolding darkness. What awaited her in that deeper maze? Would she find clarity, or was she walking into the very heart of her fears? Julie plunged forward into the velvety gloom, her heart pounding like a war drum. Each step echoed a mournful challenge, a reminder of what she had fought and might still face. The air thickened around her, suffused with the scent of damp earth and something acrid, like smoke from a long-extinguished fire. Cold shivers traced along her spine, prickling her skin, as if ghostly fingers were whispering her name. "Keep going," she muttered under her breath. The shadows swirled, offering no comfort, only ominous whispers full of the regrets she fought so hard to escape. Was she walking deeper into her own mind? Or was it a trap set by that laughing spectre behind the mirror? Suddenly, a low hum vibrated through the ground, startling her from her thoughts. It was rhythmic, almost like a heartbeat, steady but unnerving. Julie felt drawn to it, like a moth to a flame, compelled to find the source. The shadows shifted, revealing a faint glimmer ahead, a flicker that promised to pull her further down the rabbit hole. As she trudged closer, the hum intensified, reverberating through her chest. A room unfolded before her, illuminated by a soft, eerie light. The walls pulsed with colors, undulating like a heartbeat synchronized to the rhythm of that ominous sound. It was beautiful yet terrifying, a visual melody that tugged at her senses. In the center lay another mirror, this one larger, its surface like polished glass, reflecting not just her image but entire scenes, fragments of lives not fully lived. People she could have impacted, choices she never made, whispers of dreams she neglected. They pooled around her, soothing and torturous at the same time. "Julie," a voice echoed, unmistakably her own but laced with bitterness. It reverberated off the walls, the sound thick with the weight of regret. "Stop it!" she shouted, the words laced with both fear and resolve. "I came here to find strength." But the images danced mockingly before her, revealing visions of herself sidelines in moments of her own life. She saw her younger self, standing at the edge of opportunities she chose to shy away from. In every scene, her past self wore the same mask of doubt she was trying to shake off. The swirling colors began to bleed into one another, the harmonized tones morphing into chaotic dissonance. "Enough!" Julie screamed, her voice cracking with emotion. "You don't own me. I won't be bound by you anymore." With that defiance, she lunged at the mirror, ready to confront whatever lay on the other side. The instant her fingers made contact, an electric shock coursed through her, and the room erupted into a burst of blinding light. For a heartbeat, Julie felt herself unravel, the threads of her identity stretching, pulling at the edges of her being. Then, silence fell. As her vision cleared, she was back in the previous chamber, but the storm of doubt swirled stronger, more imminent. The weight of countless lives lost to fear pressed down on her. She staggered, trying to catch her breath, but something was different. The darkness felt larger, hungrier. Was it because she had come face to face with her own regrets? Was she now more vulnerable? Julie's heart raced. The air crackled, and the silence was shattered by the chilling laughter echoing from the darkness behind her. "You think you're free?" Think again. Taking a deep breath, she spun around, ready to confront whatever nightmare awaited her. What monstrous truths did the shadows conceal? Would she dare to uncover the last fragments of herself only to find they were even darker than she had imagined? The cavernous darkness loomed, pulsating with a life of its own. Julie felt an electric charge in the air, raw and hostile. The laughter of the shadow entity echoed, a dissonant melody that mirrored her deepest fears. "You're lost, Julie. All these battles, and you think you've won? You've only begun to scratch the surface." For a moment, she wavered, her breath hitching. What if it was right? Each step taken was heavy with uncertainty, and doubt threatened to ensnare her once more. But a flicker of defiance ignited within her. She had fought so hard, clawing through shadows and dispelling fears that once clung to her like fog. "No!" she yelled, her voice vibrating with newfound strength. The battle was not just with the shadows, it was with herself. "I know who I am now. I know what I want." Suddenly, the laughter morphed into a guttural growl, and the very air thickened, swirling with an ominous intensity. The dark figure shifted, emerging slowly, revealing itself in full. Its features bore the weight of her regrets, a twisted mirror reflecting her agony. "Face me," it demanded, its voice echoing through the void, "and we shall see who you really are." Julie squared her shoulders. I won't let you define me anymore. The shadows flared, reaching for her, but she felt a warming glow in her heart. You're my past, yes, but you don't hold me captive. With a surge of will, she extended her hand, a beacon of shimmering light radiating from her core. I embrace you. She cried, the light expanding as it wrapped around the dark entity, pushing against the shadows that sought to consume her. She was no longer fighting against them, she was pulling them into her embrace, beckoning the experiences and chatter she had silenced for too long. The entity recoiled, surprised by her boldness. You think you can weave light and darkness together? You cannot mix fire and ice. Watch me. She retorted. I won't hide from anything anymore. Releasing all the pain, the laughter, the moments where she had allowed fear to rob her of joy, she enveloped the darkness in light, forcing it to merge. The shadows writhed, their grotesque forms melting, transforming into something different. They twinkled with memories, with lessons learned and battles fought. Julie took a step forward, feeling the warmth spread across her body, filling every crevice of her heart and lighting up every thought of despair. You are not my enemy, she said firmly. You are my past, and I accept you. The failures, the fights, everything that made me who I am today. In that powerful moment, the dark figure writhed and crumbled, losing its sinister luster, blending slowly with the light. No. You cannot, it screamed, the words fading as the shadows slipped away like mist on a summer morning. Julie stood there, breathless, overwhelmed by the release of burdens that had weighed her down for far too long. She felt the space shift, become lighter and brighter, as if each specter of regret that had once loomed was transformed into a guiding star. She wasn't merely free, she was reborn. As the light settled, a clarity enveloped her. This new dawn was a canvas yet to be painted, each choice waiting to be made. The path ahead unfurled, inviting her to explore the vibrant possibilities that lay before her. Julie. Jamie's voice rang out, and she turned to see the familiar face of her friend, radiant with encouragement. You did it. You faced what you needed to. You're free. She felt the warmth of his smile wrapping around her like a comfort blanket. But now what? She breathed out, glancing around the space, filled with warmth and potential. Now, you create, he replied, stepping closer. Your dreams are waiting, not shackled by fear but propelled by the lessons of your past. This is the moment. With newfound strength pulsing in her veins, she nodded. No more chains would keep her bound. Julie took her first step forward, the light brightening with each movement, illuminating a future that filled her heart with a sense of purpose. It was time to embrace her dreams, to feed the hope that shimmered with endless possibility. She looked back one last time, watching shadows dissolve into light, joining the fabric of her experience, woven forever into the tapestry of who she was and who she would become. As she stepped into the future, the path unrolled ahead vibrant, ready for the taking. It was a brave new world, and she stood at its heart, unafraid. Now, the journey had found its conclusion, at least for now. But the story was just beginning, and there was so much more to explore. Don't forget, this is your moment to show your support. You need to subscribe immediately to our channel so you don't miss the next exclusive stories that will take you on even more incredible journeys. Smash that like button now to help the algorithm spread the word. And flood the comments section with your reactions and theories about this ending. I want to hear from you. Share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this conclusion. This is it. Don't wait even one more second to share. True fans understand the importance of supporting the channel through these actions.